Could call the roll to ascertain the presence of a quorum.
Thank you, Madam President. Council Baker. Council Campbell.
Here.
Council Siomo. Present. Council Redwood. Council Sabi George. Council Flaherty. Council Flynn. Council Garrison. Council Jamie. Present. Council McCarthy. Council O'Malley.
Present.
Council Wu. Present. And Council Zachem.
Frank is over here.
Madam Clerk, we have,
Frank
oh,
and Anissa.
Council Sabi George is here,
And Frank. He didn't
and
say
Council Baker.
I'm here.
Thank you. We have a quorum, Madam President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I am informed by the clerk that a quorum is present. At this time, if all councilors, guests, and staff could please rise. Council O'Malley will introduce our clergy for the day, who will bring us through our invocation. I ask that everyone remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance after that. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Good afternoon, colleagues, friends, and guests. Our clergy member today is no stranger to this body. I have invited the Reverend Anne Rousseau to offer a prayer before our meetings every year since I've been on this body. This is her 9th time doing it. She is the Steve Martin was to Saturday Night Live, as Annie Rousseau is to the Boston City Council meetings. And I invite her both because of her incredible deep and real faith that's rooted in social justice and in advancing the golden rule and making sure that we build better communities, better societies, better governments. But she's also just a remarkable friend and really a mentor to me. And it helps that her wife is one of the best cooks that I've ever met. So if this gets me another invitation for dinner, I will have be doubly blessed today. Reverend Rousseau is the community pastor of Hope Central Church, which is a wonderful faith community in Jamaica Plain. Highly recommend all of you go and observe and participate in services there. And in addition to being an incredible activist and member of the clergy, also works tirelessly in affordable housing to make sure that more people could have the dignity, the safety, and the peace of mind of renting homes into home ownership. So please join me in once again welcoming the Reverend Anne Rousseau.
Thank you. Let us pray. God of every time and every place, quiet our minds and open our hearts. As we pause and breathe deeply, taking in the air we all share. We think that we live separate lives. Let us know that that we are all connected, deep in our bones, and that we are necessary to each other. Fill us with compassion for one another, so that all that we do and say is shaped by love. God of power, give us the strength we need to help shape this city to be a place where none of our children will be homeless, and the only hunger and thirst they will know is for knowledge and justice. Where people are not displaced or have to choose between paying the rent and buying food. A city where everyone has a place to call home. God of creation, help us to be good stewards of the earth, our common home. We know we have sinned by allowing consumerism, greed, and pollution to destroy it. We pray it is not too late to save it in us from the destruction we have caused. May we have the courage to take immediate action to repair the damage we have done. God of wisdom, we pray today for the courage and the will to create a city that is filled with decent schools, safe, affordable homes, living wages, and equality and justice for all. Let it be a place where diversity is celebrated and seen as a source of enrichment. God of holiness, send your blessings on Brenda, the new superintendent of BPS. May she, together with the mayor and all who are responsible for our children, make the systemic changes needed to ensure that education inequality in Boston Public Schools is eradicated and that all our children receive an excellent education. Bless these servants that stand before you today. May they be given the power of discernment to know what is right and good for all the citizens of Boston. Inspire them so that they may be the source of bold ideas. Grace them with sensitivity so that they may be empathic leaders of our city. We ask your blessing too on their families, colleagues, and dedicated staff that support them in the work that they do. God of mercy, together with you and with each other, we strive to build a city where compassion is common, justice attained, joy pervasive, hope lived, a city that is beautiful, true, and worthy of your generosity to us. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, Pat.
Madam Clerk, if we could amend the attendance record to reflect that Councilor Flaherty is here. I think we've gotten everyone. Okay. Now moving on to approval of the minutes. If there are no corrections to be made, the minutes of the last council meeting will stand approved. Hearing and seeing no objection, the minutes are so approved. Moving on to communications from His Honor the Mayor.
Docket number 0803, message and order for an appropriation order in the amount of $1,202,337 for the administrative and operating expenses of the City of Boston's Boston Preservation Committee, CPC, for fiscal year 2020, and a further appropriation order in the amount of $24,309,813 for the Community Preservation Fund's estimated annual revenue for fiscal year 2020 to be appropriated and reserved for future appropriations.
Docket 0803 will be assigned to the Committee on the Community Preservation Act.
Docket number 0804, message and order authorizing the Collector-Treasurer for the City of Boston to enter into compensation balance agreement with Citizens Bank pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53F, for the provision of banking services as more fully described in the attached forms.
The docket 0804 will be assigned to the Committee on Ways and Means. Moving on to reports of public officers and others. Madam Clerk, if you could read dockets 0805 through 0810 together, that'd be great.
Thank you, Madam President. Docket number 0805, notice was received from Councilors Edwards and O'Malley regarding the briefing held by the Planned Parenthood on Friday, May 10th, 2019, in the Piemonte Room. Docket number 0806, notice was received from the Mayor of the appointment of Jeffrey Hawkins as a member of the Boston Library Board of Trustees for term expiring May 1st, 2024. Docket number 0807, notice was received from the Mayor of the appointment of Representative Cheyenne Tyler as a member of the Boston Public Library Board of Trustees for term expiring May 1st, 2024. Docket number 0808, notice is received from the Mayor of the reappointment of Priscilla Douglas as a member of the Boston Public Library Board of Trustees for term expiring May 1st, 2024. Docket number 0809, notice was received from the Mayor of the appointment of Greg T. Rooney as Acting Commissioner of Transportation for a period of 90 days, effective May 6, 2019. Docket number 0810, communication was received from Keegan Rowland LLP regarding NSTAR Electric Company, DBA Eversource, EFSB 19-03, DPU 19-15 of the petition entitled Andrews Square and Dewar Street Transmissions Reliability Project Analysis.
Dockets 0805 through 0810 will be placed on file. Moving on to reports of committees.
Docket number 0630, the Committee on Ways and Means, to which was referred on April 10, 2019, docket number 0630, message and order approving an appropriation of $4,400,000 from the 21st Century Fund, also known as the Public Educational or Governmental PEG, Access and Cable-Related Fund, pursuant to Section 53F and 3/4 of Chapter 44 of the General Laws, to the PEG Access and Cable-Related Grant for cable-related purposes consistent with the franchise agreement between the cable operator and the city, including but not limited to: 1, supporting public educational or governmental access cable television services; 2, monitoring compliance of cable operator with the franchise agreement, or preparation of renewal of the franchise license. Submits a report recommending the order ought to pass.
Councilor Siomo, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee held its public hearing on Thursday, May 9th, and heard testimony from Mike Lynch, Director of Broadband and Cable for the Department of Innovation and Technology. The PEG grant, which is an acronym for Public Education or Government Fund, access funds, revenue is made up of the cable franchise fees paid by subscribers from Comcast, RCN, and Verizon. The city uses the fund to support Boston Neighborhood Network Media, which provides community, government, and educational access television and radio programming, training and production services, and Tech Goes Home, a digital equity initiative that provides low-income and underserved residents in the city with the opportunity, tools, education, and access required for 21st century skills development. The fund also supports the city's dark fiber infrastructure and other cable-related advocacy, auditing, and regulatory service. At the hearing, Susan O'Connor, Interim General Manager for BNN Media, and Dan Noyes, Co-Executive Director of Tech Goes Home, testified on behalf of their organizations regarding the work this funding makes possible, including for BNN, broadcast of nightly news, local election coverage, high school sports games, live parades, civic events, and community celebrations across the city, production resources to nonprofits and others, certifications, training, resource support, and programming for residents, including individuals with disabilities, BPS students, and Roxbury Community College, as well as engineering and technical support to Boston PEG channels, including Boston City Council TV, Boston Kids and Family TV, and the WBCA low-power FM community radio station. For Tech Goes Home, free digital skills training, discounted new computers, and assistance finding low-cost, high-quality internet, which have helped residents learn to find jobs online, digitally communicate with their children's teachers, find affordable housing, sign up for SNAP benefits, explore coding, navigate online city resources, and much more. As the Chair of Ways and Means, I recommend passage of docket 0630.
Thank you, Councilor Siomo. At this time, Councilor Siomo, who's chair of the Committee on Ways and Means, seeks acceptance of the committee report and passage of docket 0630. All those in favor of passage say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Docket 0630 has been passed. Moving on to matters recently heard for possible action.
Docket number 0622 through 0625. Orders for the FY20 operating budget, including annual appropriations for departmental operations, annual appropriations for the school department, appropriation for other post-employment benefits known as OPEB, an appropriation of certain transportation and public realm improvements, and appropriations for certain park improvements.
Dockets 0622 through 0625 will remain in the Committee on Ways and Means.
Docket number 0626 through 0628, capital budget appropriations, including loan orders and lease purchase agreements.
Dockets 0626 through 0628 will remain in the Committee on Ways and Means.
Docket number 0629, message and order authorizing the appropriation of $1,200,000 from the income of the George Francis Parkman Fund. The funds are to be expended under the direction of the Commissioner of Parks and Recreation for the maintenance and improvement of the Boston Common and parks in existence since January 12, 1887.
Councilor Siomo, you have the floor.
Thank you again, Madam President. This was sponsored by the mayor and referred to the committee on April 10th, and we held our public hearing Monday, May 13th. Chris Cook, the Chief of Energy, Environment, and Open Space, as well as Nicole Duhamel, the Finance Director for the Boston Parks Department, reviewed the Parkman Fund and its intent. The fund was established in 1908 from a bequest from George Francis Parkman, designated for maintenance and upkeep of Parkman-supported parks, which include the Boston Common, the Public Garden, the Fens, Highland Park, Horatio Harris Park, and Malcolm X Park. It was explained that these funds are drawn down from the interests accrued in the original fund and that the principal is never drawn down or added to. The breakdown of the funds is as follows. 1.2 million is advocated to fund the operations of the Boston Common and parks, with $950,000 to be used towards the general care and maintenance. It was also explained that $224,000 will be used for the specialized maintenance of the horticulture and infrastructure, with the remaining balance of $26,000 designated for equipment, infrastructure improvements, and repairs of the parks, and is earmarked on an as-needed basis. It was explained that several years ago, electric equipment was purchased to be used on the Boston Common. This is important and necessary work in the upkeep of our historic and aging parks, which has been in existence since January 12, 1887. As chair, again, I recommend passage.
Thank you, Councilor Siomo. At this time, Councilor Siomo, who's chair of the Committee on Ways and Means, recommends acceptance of the committee report and passage of docket 0629. All those in favor of passage say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Docket 0629 has been passed. Madam Clerk, actually, if we could read dockets 0635 through 0636 together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Docket number 0635, message and order authorizing a limit for the Distributed Energy Resource Revolving Fund for fiscal year 2020 to facilitate the purchase of offsets of greenhouse gas emissions, which shall be associated with a portion of the electricity consumed by the city annually, and to operate, maintain, monitor, and expand the city's existing solar arrays and Boston Public Schools combined heat and power facilities. This revolving fund shall be credited with any and all receipts from the sale of renewable and alternative energies certificates and demand response program revenue produced by combined heat and power units located in the Boston Public School sites and solar renewable energy certificates produced by the city's photovoltaic arrays. Receipts and resulting expenditures from this fund shall not exceed $100,000. And docket number 0636. Message and order authorizing a limit for the Parks Department's revolving fund for fiscal year 2020 to reimburse for the administrative costs to those city agencies which enforce CBC Chapter 16, Section 1.9 and 1.9B, and for costs associated with licensing and registration. This revolving fund shall be credited with any and all receipts from all dog registration fees collected pursuant to CBC Chapter 18, Section 1.4, and fines pursuant to CBC Chapter 16, Section 1.9 and 1.9b. Receipts and resulting expenditures from this fund shall not exceed $200,000.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Dockets 0635 through 0636 will remain in the Committee on Ways and Means.
Would you like me to read 0718 and 0719?
That'd be great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Docket number 0718, message and order approving a supplemental appropriation order for the Boston Public Health Commission for FY19 in the amount of $1,933,679 to cover the FY19 costs contained within the collective bargaining agreement between the Boston Public Health Commission and the Boston EMS Division of the Boston Police Patrolmen's Association. The terms of this contract are July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2018, and July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2021. The major provisions of the contracts include base wage increases of 2% effective the first pay period of July of each fiscal year. The agreements also contain other benefits, including increases to hazardous duty and awards. Docket number 0719, message in order to reduce the FY19 appropriation for the Reserve for Collective Bargaining by $1,933,679 to provide funding for the Boston Public Health Commission for the FY19 increase contained within the collective bargaining agreements between the Boston Public Health Commission and Boston EMS Division of the Boston Police Patrolmen's Association.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilor Siomo, you have the floor.
Thank you again, Madam President. Dockets 0718 and 0719 concern an appropriation for the collective bargaining agreement between the Boston Public Health Commission and Boston EMS Division of the Boston Police Patrolmen's Association. Docket 0719 transfers the funds from the collective bargaining reserve, and docket 0718 authorizes the funding of the agreement. There are approximately 370 members in this bargaining unit, including EMTs, paramedics, and supervisors at Boston EMS. The agreement consists of 2 consecutive agreements extending from July 2017 through June 2021, with an estimated cost of $10.4 million over the 4-year period. Language items include a classification and reestablishment of the mechanism for implementing future health insurance changes, establishment of standards and policies for the use and storage of protective equipment, and the addition of new provisions regarding communications, training, absenteeism, and corrective discipline to enhance operational flexibility within the department. Compensation and other cost items include the standard 2% wage increase effective in July of each year of the contract, hazardous duty differential increases of 1% in 2018, 2019, and 2020, longevity payment increases, classification increases for certain supervisors, increasing the number of personal days from 1 to 2 per year, and establishment of paid parental leave consistent with the Council's 2015 ordinance. The wage increase pattern, compensation, and language items are consistent with previously approved agreements. Other cost items and policy modifications are meant to increase department efficiency and flexibility. The committee held its hearing yesterday. At the hearing, City of Boston Deputy Budget Director Jim Williamson, Boston EMS Chief Jim Hooley, and Boston Public Health Commission Chief Labor and Employment Counsel Dave Susich testified on behalf of the administration. The supplemental appropriation that we are authorizing today for this agreement is $1,933,679. Following approval of this appropriation, there will be approximately $13.3 million remaining in the reserve for collective bargaining. and we will have settled approximately 88% of the bargaining units. Therefore, I recommend passage of these two dockets.
Thank you, Councilor Siomo. At this time, Councilor Siomo, who's chair of the Committee on Ways and Means, recommends acceptance of the committee report and passage of dockets 0718 and 0719. I will take them separately. For docket 0718, all those in favor of passage say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Docket 0718 has been passed. For docket 0719, all those in favor of passage say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Docket 0719 has been passed. Moving on to motions, orders, and resolutions.
Docket number 0811, Councilor O'Malley offered the following order for hearing on restricting e-cigarette sales in the city of Boston.
Councilor O'Malley, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. First off, I'd like to add City Councilor at Large Anissa Asabi-George as a primary co-sponsor on this hearing order.
Any objections? No problem. Madam Clerk, if you could add Councilor Asabi-George as original co-sponsor, that would be great. Thank you. You have the floor, Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you. I rise today to bring our attention to an unrecognized epidemic that is sweeping our schools. Boston has successfully reduced the public health hazard of nicotine addiction. Today, only 15% of Bostonians smoke, which we all know represents a massive decline since the Mad Men era. As chair of the Council's Committee on Healthy Women, Families, and Communities, I'm proud of the work that this city has done, that the Public Health Commission has done, to help our residents quit smoking. Things like our nicotine patch giveaway, our partnership with the Mayor's Smokers Helpline, working with BHA to really offer support in smoking cessation products and techniques for residents who smoke there. I myself am a former smoker, and I know firsthand how difficult it is to quit smoking. That's why I'm concerned that new nicotine delivery systems like Juul and other e-cigarettes have spread among young people faster than our culture and our government can adapt to the fresh source of nicotine addiction. E-cigarettes, which are advertised by companies like Juul as a way to help adult smokers quit and replace their habit with less dangerous vaping, has turned our youth tobacco prevention efforts on its head. Overnight, juuling has become a widespread addiction. 1 in 5 high school students in our state and around this country are using e-cigarettes, 20%. And the number of middle schoolers who are using it or trying it is growing at an alarming rate. Some studies have shown that close to 80% of high school seniors have tried e-cigarettes at least once. Meanwhile, only 3% of adults use e-cigarettes. That shows this product is much more popular for high schoolers who want to vape than adults who want to quit smoking. The number of high school seniors who used e-cigarettes doubled last year, the largest one-year increase ever recorded for youth addictive substances in over 4 decades. These substances are more dangerous than many of our young people realize. Vaping might be safer than smoking traditional cigarettes, but it still has many of the negative respiratory and cardiovascular effects of nicotine, including impacting the brains of adolescents, as well as the hearts, and one of the reasons why the American Heart Association is supporting the efforts that we're introducing here today. Now, you don't need to ask health researchers to know that this is an epidemic among our youth. You just need to ask anyone in our high schools, any parent of teenagers, any teacher, any person who is seeing these incredibly alarming and growing trends. Through monumental effort targeting by the big tobacco companies, government successfully made smoking cigarettes uncool and stopped a new generation of getting hooked on nicotine. But Juul and other companies have made vaping the new smoking. High school students see a Juul that doesn't look or smell like a traditional cigarette as a different product with different cultural associations, but it's delivering the same amount of nicotine. So what can we do about it? What can this body do about it? Well, as the FDA is working to evaluate e-cigarettes' health effects by 2021, they, along with the Boston Public Health Commission, have cracked down on some underage sales of some candy-flavored e-cigarettes that are popular among teenagers. But so many high school and middle school students are already addicted, and we need further action. Half of underage users use e-cigarette flavors that still remain legal on the FDA's crackdown. Additionally, online sales have increased dramatically. So while we have seen some efforts about selling these in sort of corner stores, we're seeing a robust growth in the number of online sales. Now, I think it's safe to say that the popularity of e-cigarettes among children is a public health crisis in Boston, and we need to take action. Cities across the United States are banning flavored e-cigarettes that make this product so attractive to underage users. Only a product marketed to kids needs flavors such as mango, fruit, or cream-flavored nicotine. Banning flavors is one important step we should consider. Simply enforcing an age restriction on flavored nicotine isn't foolproof, however, when high schoolers and middle schoolers are already addicted and will find other ways to procure the product if it is available in stores. Some municipalities are also considering an overall ban on e-cigarettes until the FDA evaluates their public health impacts. We should look at a variety of strategies as this product is spreading faster than any analysis of how it is harming our young people. This adolescent addiction also emphasizes the importance of social and emotional supports in our schools. Every young person should have someone to talk to if they want to quit nicotine, as well as the supports to become an ex-vapor or jeweler. I ask for your support on this hearing to gather data on the scope of the problem in Boston and consider what further steps we can take. It is vital that we do this to preserve the health of the next generation of the City of Boston. Looking forward to an opportunity to sit down with residents from the Public Health Commission, from Boston Public Schools, parents, other groups, to really figure out ways that we can address this going forward. Wanted to thank Will Poff-Webster in my office, who was able to put together this in fairly short order with some great research. We really have an opportunity and we have a duty to get to work, so let's make it happen. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor O'Malley. Councilor Sabi George, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to first thank Councilor O'Malley for his leadership in calling attention to the rising use of e-cigarettes and vapes by the young people in our city. I'm proud to partner with him as a co-sponsor to begin a serious conversation about restricting access to tobacco products deliberately marketed to underage consumers. Throughout my years as a high school teacher, monitoring cigarette use was a daily struggle for me and my colleagues. With the e-cigarettes and vaping, the situation has become far worse because these products are much harder to hide. As a parent of teenagers, I am so much more aware of the attractiveness of these devices. I've seen them, they're cute, they can be decorated, they come in sparkly cases, and they become very attractive for young people to want to not just use but also collect and share. What makes this product in this situation a public crisis is these products have a greater concentration of nicotine and are more addictive than traditional cigarettes. The rising popularity of flavored tobacco e-cigarettes proves that this market is targeting youth and adolescent populations. As this industry continues to grow, it's increasingly important for us to make sure these products are sold for their stated purpose, which is to help adults quit their addiction to cigarettes. We need to make sure that we get to this work, get to it quickly, because as I talk to my teacher friends and parents of teenagers and young teens and older teens, this is a problem that is spreading across our city. I've heard incidents where kids are hiding them in the classroom because there is very little smoke, there is no odor. This is a serious concern and something that we can't let get too far out of hand. Thank you to Councilor O'Malley for his leadership on this and really drawing some great public attention to this issue. And for parents and for teachers across the city, I think it's something we need to get to quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Sabi George. Anyone else looking to speak on this matter or add their name? Madam Clerk, if you could add Councilor Baker, Councilor Siomo, Councilor Edwards, Councilor Flaherty, Councilor Flynn, Councilor Garrison, Councilor Janey, Councilor McCarthy, Councilor Wu, Councilor Zakem, as well as the Chair. Docket 0811 will be assigned to the Committee on Healthy Women, Families, and Communities.
Docket number 0812. Councilors Janey and O'Malley offered the following order for hearing on efforts to combat summer violence in the city of Boston.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilor Janey, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. First, I'd like to suspend Rule 12 and add you as an original co-sponsor.
Any objection? Madam Clerk, if you could add me as a third co-sponsor. Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Janey.
Thank you so much. So I want to thank you for your partnership and Councilor O'Malley for your partnership and your leadership. This is a refile, something that Councilor O'Malley and I did last year to combat the uptick that we see with summer violence in the city, and it's important that we get on this work right away. First, I just want to commend many of the community-based organizations and groups, the anti-violence activists, the peace activists, the different city agencies in Boston who work tirelessly to ensure that our communities are safe for all and that there are meaningful and engaging opportunities for our young people. The efforts from last summer resulted in a decrease in the number of homicides comparing summer of 2017 to summer 2018, and we're defining summer as June, July, and August. So we did see a decrease overall in the city of Boston, as well as in my own district. So if we look at B2, which is in Roxbury, that covers much of Roxbury, and the number of homicides between June and August fell from 10 to 5 for that district, and citywide they fell from 22 to 14. This past weekend, I joined 2 separate peace walks. On Friday afternoon, 12th Baptist Church resumed their peace walks throughout the community of Roxbury, joined by many police officers. This was the first one of the season, and that was wonderful. That was Friday afternoon. On Sunday, did it again. Many of you were there for the peace walk, the Walk for Peace that the Louis D. Brown Institute does, walking from Fields Corner all the way to City Hall. These are very important peace walks. They help build trust in the community. They help raise awareness around the issues and create a strong sense of community, and those are important. But between those 2 walks, sandwiched in between those walks, or right in the middle of those walks, on the beautiful first nice day, or one of the first nice days that we've seen this season, there unfortunately was a shooting in my own neighborhood. And we know, regardless of whether there's a fatal shooting or a non-fatal shooting, it's a traumatic event for people who experience this. Whether it's the sounds of the gunshots themselves or the sirens or the sight of police tape or the little cones, we've got to do better to make sure that we are addressing the root cause of violence, which for me is very much rooted in trauma, unaddressed trauma. So as we try to do a better job of caring for our whole community, making sure that we have the trauma support services that are needed, that is very important if we are going to break the cycle of violence in our community. Beyond strengthening trauma response and support services, we need to do much more in terms of the economic opportunities for people in our community, as well as making sure that they're getting the education that they need in our schools. Now, oftentimes we talk about violence and summer violence as being a youth issue, but we know that many of the victims of violence, including those who may be alleged perpetrators, are not necessarily young people. These are people who are in their 30s or 40s oftentimes, and we've got to make sure that there are also supports available for them as well. We know that last month, unfortunately, Eleanor Maloney, who was a 74-year-old grandmother, was shot in Mattapan, and there are other victims as well as alleged perpetrators who are much older than the youth. So we need to do a lot more to ensure that our young people as well as older adults are getting the supports and services, that we are breaking the cycle of violence in our communities, and that we're being proactive about it. We know that we're going to see an uptick in the summer. We've got to do more. Fortunately, we have seen a decline from 17 to 18, and we need to make sure that we continue that for summer 2019. So thank you again for your partnership, Councilor O'Malley. I'm hoping that we can have an expedited hearing so that we can really be proactive in getting some strategies in place and working with not only the city agencies, but many of the activists and the advocacy organizations out in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Janey. Councilor O'Malley, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. It's great to partner with you as well as my dear colleague and friend, the District Council from District 7. Last June, we had this hearing, and it was a wonderful check-in with then Commissioner Evans, Chief Martinez. We had folks from the Justice Resource Institute, some residents from Mildred Haley, formerly Bromley Heath Housing Development in my district. And I think it's important that we get together before the summer in earnest truly begins, and with the weather we've had lately, that may be in September before we get there. But we all know as the temperature rises, so too does the crime rate in every city. So it's important that we are able to convene all the relevant stakeholders, make sure that the resources are there, make sure that residents have opportunities to talk with one another and really facilitate good communication. I know the mayor's committed to this as well. I know that he and Commissioner Gross have been working hard, so I think it'll be a great opportunity just to check in with one another and make sure we can do everything we can to make sure it's as safe of a summer as we can have. So thank you again.
Thank you, Councilor O'Malley, and look forward to partnering with you both. Thank you for the partnership, and working in partnership also, of course, with the Mayor's Office and our Commissioner, Chief Hooley, as well as Fire, given what we expect to see this summer. So looking forward to the hearing. Thank you, guys. Anyone else looking to speak on this matter or add their name? Madam Clerk, if you could add Councilor Baker, Councilor Siomo, Councilor Edwards, Councilor Sabi George, Councilor Flaherty, Councilor Flynn, Councilor Garrison, Councilor McCarthy, Councilor Wu, Councilor Zakum. Docket 0812 will be assigned to the Committee on Public Safety and Criminal Justice. Moving on to personnel orders.
Docket number 0813, Councilor Campbell for Councilor McCarthy.
Councilor McCarthy seeks suspension of the rules and passage of docket 0813. All those in favor of passage say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Docket 0813 has been passed.
Docket number 0814, Councilor Campbell for Councilor McCarthy.
Councilor McCarthy seeks suspension of the rules and passage of docket 0814. All those in favor of passage say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Docket 0814 has been passed. Moving on to late files, I'm informed by the clerk that there are 3 late file matters, which in the absence of objection will be added to today's agenda. Seeing and hearing no objections, the 3 late file matters are so added. Just a point of clarification, all 3 are personnel orders. That's why you probably don't have a copy. Madam Clerk, if we could read the first late file matter into the record.
In the City of Boston, the City Council, May 15th, Councilor Campbell for Councilor Janey.
Councilor Janey seeks suspension of the rules and passage of the first late file matter. All those in favor of passage say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The first late file matter has been passed.
In the City of Boston, the City Council, May 15, 2019, Councilor Campbell for Councilor Janey.
Councilor Janey seeks suspension of the rules and passage of the second late file matter. All those in favor of passage say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The second late file matter has been passed.
In the City of Boston and the City Council, May 15, 2019, Councilor Campbell for Councilor Siomo.
Councilor Siomo seeks suspension of the rules and passage of the third late file matter. All those in favor of passage say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The third late file matter has been passed. Anyone wishing to remove anything from the green sheets may do so now. Moving right along. At this time, I am informed by the clerk that there are 0 late file matters for the consent agenda. At this time, the chair moves for adoption of the consent agenda. All those in favor of adoption say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The consent agenda has been adopted. Any announcements? Councilor Edwards, you have the floor.
Thank you. I just wanted to note that I believe it, again, I wanted to acknowledge the passing of another giant in East Boston. Evelyn Marash was, again, part of the group of women who were the Maverick Street Mothers, and she passed away on Mother's Day, surrounded by family. And she was not only a giant, but she was a second mother to a lot of the activists coming up in East Boston. She also helped to found the East Boston Community News and parents and teachers who care about education. She was a lifelong Girl Scout and helped to train the generations of Girl Scouts in East Boston. She was a force to be reckoned with, fighting for a community when a lot of women really weren't finding their voices or didn't have a voice, I should say, or weren't allowed to have a voice for her generation. She is someone who was one of the first people I met when I ran in 2016, actually, and she invited me into her home and gave me such a wonderful education about the history of East Boston, what she's done, what people have done to preserve the wonderful character of the neighborhood. She's going to be heavily missed by us, and her house sits on the corner of Putnam Street, and we will always consider that Evelyn's corner. She leaves behind 5 kids who are also stewards and part of our community. And I just wanted to acknowledge her passing. I went to the wake, and just who came out from all generations for folks in development. She was also on the board of the East Boston Health Center. It's just, again, I had mentioned it before, it seems like the great oaks are falling, and she's just one of the great ones who we're also going to miss in East Boston.
Thank you, Councilor Edwards. Anyone else have any announcements? At this time, I ask that all guests, staff, and colleagues please rise as we adjourn today's meeting in memory of the following individuals. For Councilor Edwards, Evelyn Marash. For Councilor Siomo, Mary Ellie Eleanor Holland. For Councilors Flaherty and Siomo, George Sparopoulos. For Councilor Flaherty and Councilor Flynn, Roger Knievi. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. The chair moves that when the council adjourns today, it does so in memory of the aforementioned individuals. We are scheduled to meet again in this chamber on Wednesday, May 22nd at 12 noon. All those in favor of adjournment say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The council is adjourned.